lose some weight. Hang in there, man. Move, move! Tango, straight ahead. Looks like they found us.
There's a crusher somewhere. Be careful.
Let's rock! Ah! Damn, that hurts! Tactical analysis in progress.
Deploying sentry gun.
Damn, she blacked out. Ah! Damn, that hurts!
If you're anything like me, the phrase aliens licensed XCOM would get your dick harder than arithmetic. But then, if you're like me, that initial wave of excitement and arousal is quickly replaced with a wave of caution and skepticism, because it is an aliens game. And aliens games, and movies for that matter, are not dissimilar to Warhammer games. A vast sea of dog shit with a few gems floating on top. Also, if you're like me, you buy most of them anyway, because of a deep love of the franchise and how good those gems can be. And also, if you're like me, you have a deep sense of resentment for these franchises abusing your loyalty. And also, if you're like me, you're starting to get tired of this bit. It's with great joy, however, that I can tell you that Aliens Dark Descent is one of those gems. It certainly starts off a bit rough. There's frame drops on the menu, janky animations.
Hello, my baby. Hello, my honey. Hello, my ragtime gal. Send me a kiss by wire. Baby, my heart's on fire.
A UI that clearly so badly wants to be XCOM, but more on that in a little bit. And an intro that doesn't exactly thrill. You wander around a brightly lit space station for a bit, you chat with your co-workers, go about your business, all while dealing with the slow, very clunky feeling movement mechanics that feel more natural once the real game starts, but not yet.
Are you lost? Do you need me to show you to your room?
Last I checked, you couldn't find your own ass with both hands. A pass.
You'll also notice pretty much immediately that this game follows the Aliens plot, for there is only one. Derelict space station, Weyland-Yutani trying some shady shit with a xenomorph, xenomorph escapes, horror and or action ensues. The game certainly does get going once the alien is in play though. And the first mission really channels its alien isolation, having you navigate a dark, claustrophobic, breaking down space station all by yourself, armed with only a tiny flashlight. And while this section is actually pretty effective, it's also a lie. This is not a horror game. It is a tense, methodical, action strategy game. So I'm not sure why the first mission is so different from the rest of the game, honestly. There's the occasional kind of spooky moment here and there, but not like this. I suppose the one thing it does do well is to establish that this is a game that does not fuck around. Once the alien is loose, you quickly find a gun, and your character is like, oh, sweet, I found this cool gun. Time to mess up that alien. And then the game is like, nope. It straight up tells you, don't mess with the alien. Now I, being me, immediately jumped out from my hiding spot and tried to blast said alien, and, yeah. This game is hard. It probably isn't for everyone. If you don't like challenging strategy games, XCOM is the obvious comparison. If you didn't like that, then you might hate this game. It even tells you when you're starting a new save file that this game is hard and you should probably start with easy mode. Now, I ain't no bitch, so I played on medium, but the game is right. It's not easy. Even on medium, I have gotten squad wiped more times than I can probably count by this point. Anyway, eventually you get off the spaceship, you link up with the Colonial Marines, and then the real game begins. So the actual game, the 99% of it after the tutorial, is not a horror game, but a strategy game more like XCOM. I know it's real-time and not turn-based, but like, come on, it's XCOM. You control one small squad of soldiers, the combat is very slow-paced, there's a base management section of the game. Let me introduce you to your home base, the USS Otaga. Here you have to manage your crew and resources every day. And this part especially wants to be XCOM so bad, it's simultaneously cute and kind of sad. It's like watching a puppy trying to get a treat that's stuck under a cup. The UI is the same, the menus are the same, it's got the whole barracks engineering bay laboratory, 1 mission per day, the promotion and class system for your soldiers are the same, the weapons and upgrades are the same, the NPCs are the same. This guy even wears the same coat as Dr. Valen. So I don't feel bad comparing this game to XCOM because that's clearly what it wants. Unfortunately, none of this is as fleshed out or as interesting as in XCOM. There are less options and upgrades. The upgrades themselves progress very linearly, so there's not really any interesting choices. Just kind of how fast you can get to the next one. The characters here are super forgettable. I don't remember their names, to be honest. The characters throughout the entire game are very forgettable. The only 2 characters in the entire game whose names I remember are Hayes and Hunslet. Hayes is the main character, and Hunslet is the only character who I liked. She's the pilot of your transport vehicle, and while she doesn't have a very huge role in the story, she just kind of chimes in over the radio now and again to take the piss out of everybody else, because they're being annoying, and I enjoy that. She's truly the voice of the player. So, you've complained about everything so far. The story, the first mission, the characters, the base building. What do you like about this game? I thought you said it was a gem. Well, 2 things. The in-mission gameplay and the mission structure, which I realize sounds a little bit weird, but I've got to explain the gameplay first, so just hold on for 1 second. The actual minute-to-minute gameplay is honestly fantastic. It's a little bit hard to describe because I've never actually played anything quite like it, so I don't have anything to really compare it to. You control a small squad of 4 soldiers as 1 unit, however. You don't control each soldier individually. They move in unison and they shoot in unison. They do, however, have their own individual health bars and abilities, and if you were to, say, click on an objective or set up a turret, then the closest soldier will go complete that action. It feels kind of odd at first, but by halfway through mission 2, I had the hang of it and was managing my squad like a seasoned vet. It's also a game that emphasizes preparation and positioning, which is why I compare it more to XCOM than something like StarCraft or Command & Conquer. Your squad mates move pretty slowly, and the xenomorphs, especially, are fast, tough, and they hit super hard, but they only hit in melee range. So you're completely boned if you get caught in a tight space. This is emphasized by the fact that you can't sprint and shoot at the same time, only walk, which means you're doubly fucked if you get into a bad position up close with some nasty aliens. Speaking of abilities, though, each soldier belongs to one of 5 classes, each with their own unique weapons and skills. And you may remember that I said you can only have 4 squad mates. So this means deciding who you bring to every deployment is actually a pretty interesting dilemma. Do you want to sacrifice, say, the firepower of a gunner or the team-wide buffs of a sergeant? All of the classes actually have their own uses, and they seem well balanced, so it's not an easy choice to make. Isn't to say the gameplay is perfect. There are a couple little niggles, I suppose, that I do have with it. The motion tracker is kind of too good. It should probably only show the directions of enemies, not their exact pinpointed positions, which I know that's not how it worked in the movies, but like, come on, sometimes tweaks are need to be made for the gameplay when you're switching mediums. Sentry guns are also kind of OP. Each sentry gun is like better than a soldier, and you can have up to 4 of them. So while theoretically they're meant to be used in onslaughts and for defensive situations, I found myself slapping down a few sentries pretty much any time I had to start shooting anything. I don't feel too bad though, because as I stated earlier, this is a game that does not fuck around. Enemies are very tough and will absolutely swarm you once gunshots start ringing. You can set up ambushes with sentry guns and landmines though. Stealth is a good option as you can avoid many enemies entirely. The stealth mechanics are pretty familiar, but with a little twist. Your squad starts off every mission undetected, and then when you're in line of sight, they will start to gradually notice you, which is represented by this little line filling up. Distance and loud noises like running will get you detected faster. I will mention that due to the not fucking around, the enemies are not stupid. Well, sorry, the xenomorphs are not stupid. The cultists and synths are pretty stupid. The xenomorphs, though, detect you very quickly, and even if they only partially detect you, oftentimes they will go start kind of sniffing around where they think they saw something. Once you are found, though, however, you become detected. The xenomorph that found you will now chase you to the ends of the earth for a taste of that booty. This is unfortunate, because now you're going to have to shoot said xenomorph, and I don't know if you realize this, but guns are loud. If you do manage to get out of line of sight though, either by somehow hiding from whatever's chasing you, or by killing the last enemy right there, you will enter the hunted stage. This is when enemies know you exist, but don't know exactly where you are. They start at your last known location, and then start searching from there. This is not like Dishonored or something, though, where you hide for 5 seconds and everyone forgets of your entire existence. The hunted stage lasts for a really long time, and the whole time, your aggressiveness bar is building. And now you may ask, what is the aggressiveness bar? Well, this meter, which only applies to the aliens, not other enemy types, determines how many aliens you'll be facing and how big and scary those aliens are. It starts at level 1 and gradually fills up as you are detected or hunted. Once it reaches level 2, it spawns a very large wave of xenomorphs called an onslaught to come horribly murder you, and the mission gets significantly harder from there. I honestly never stuck around long enough to hit level 3, but I cannot imagine it's very pleasant. But now that I have mentioned the aggressiveness bar and the gameplay, I can talk about the best part of this game, which is the mission structure, and the just brutal strategic decisions that you need to make on every deployment. Levels in this game are these huge open-ended areas with typically many different objectives that you can complete in any order. Now, obviously some objectives will open up new ones, but even the story missions are often something like find 3 of these NPCs and then they're all in separate corners of the map. That may sound a bit annoying, having to run around a lot, but you have your handy-dandy arc to carry you from place to place. The arc is your spawn point, extraction point, and it also has a great big fuck-off gun on it, so even when it's parked, it still provides you with a bit of a safe zone. Resources on the map are very limited, and they don't respawn, things like medkits, ammos, sentry guns, etc. If you run out of these, you can purchase more at the start of your next deployment for supplies, but supplies are also very limited, as they are used to purchase consumables like those, and also to upgrade your weapons. You find some supplies scattered around the map, and you do generate a small amount of supplies every day based on how many engineers you've saved. The thing that makes this cool, though, is that you can extract your squad at any time, and your progress on that mission is saved. So let's say your objective is to save 7 civilians, and you manage to save 3 on one deployment, then the next time you deploy, there will only be the 4 that you didn't save the first time. Oh, well, I'll abuse this then. I'll just extract and, re-health and re-ammo my squad after every single little objective. Ahaha. You cannot do that because you can only deploy once per day. And every day that passes, the infestation level of the planet goes up. You get one little notch every single in-game day. And once this bar is filled up, the infestation level increases, and every mission will start spawning bigger and badder aliens and more of them. This creates this really cool balance where you have to try to make as much progress on each deployment as possible so that you don't increase the infestation level too quickly, all while you're managing your supplies, the aggressiveness bar, the health of your Marines. If your Marines get hurt on a mission, then they've got to go recover in the medbay. If you, say, use them too many missions in a row, then they'll get tired or exhausted and they won't perform as well. So this means you've got to train and level enough Marines to cover if some get hurt. But you also have to have strong enough Marines to make reasonable progress. Also, permadeath. All these systems are tied beautifully together by this infestation meter that makes all of your choices feel important, but in this amazing natural way. The game isn't telling you, oh, be careful, your choices have consequences. And it's not some terrible binary moral choice system. You have to make strategic decisions all on your own, and it's absolutely glorious. I think this is the one thing that this game actually does better than XCOM, is tying your in-mission and out-of-mission strategic choices together. XCOM 2 tried that with the Titan Project bar, but it always just kind of came off as annoying in that game. I think it was almost too forced, right? If that bar fills up, you lose immediately. Black and white. You lose the game. Dark Descent doesn't just end if the infestation meter gets too high. It just makes the game more difficult. This means that while it is an important factor working against you, it doesn't take the whole focus. And while I won't spoil it, it does throw a bit of a curveball with you later on with that. This leads into the actual best thing that the game does. Haha, I gotcha. Creating your own stories. One last XCOM comparison, if I may, and a good one at that. If you've played XCOM, then you'll know what I mean when I say creating your own stories. XCOM itself is a game with a pretty generic story and cutscenes. It's an alien invasion, you've got to fight back against them. But what makes the game so great is that in-game, everyone has stories of how, oh, that one time my squad was at the brink of defeat, backs against the wall, pinned down by a horde of aliens. And then your favorite soldier managed to land this crazy long-range headshot, blow up a bunch of aliens, secure the objective, and save the day. And these little stories that are born from the gameplay, and how attached you get to these little randomly generated Marines. If you've never played a game like this, you will fall in love with your soldiers, even though they're just, like, procedurally generated. It's crazy. These little stories that are born from the gameplay. I am happy to say that Dark Descent absolutely nails this. Because the open-ended levels and the way the infestation meter works, it all really encourages you to get creative with your strategies and always to push for just a little bit more. And this can get you into some pretty silly situations. When I started the game, I was enjoying it. It was okay. I got through the first 2 missions and I was like, it's a fun game. I like the strategic elements. I like the xenomorphs. And then I hit the 3rd mission of the game. The 3rd mission of the game has your squad heading to a major spaceport on the planet to try to find satellite parts and also information on the alien outbreak. Obviously, because video game, the whole place has already gone to shit by the time you get there. Full-on xenomorph outbreak, whole bunch of crazy cultists who have taken to worshipping the aliens as gods, you name it. Pretty early into the level, I took a bad fight with some cultists that I wasn't prepared for. I got caught in a narrow hallway with a bunch of hammer-wielding psychos. Bonk bonk, 2 of my Marines went down. Now, I managed to clear out the remaining cultists and carry my 2 downed Marines all the way back to my Ark, narrowly avoiding another group of cultists on the way. Once I secured my 2 downed Marines, though, I had a choice. I could do the safe thing and extract back to the Otago empty-handed, or, since I had just cleared most of the building that I've been trying to get into, I could take my 2 remaining Marines and at least go loot the building for supplies and medkits so I wouldn't at least leave with nothing. Obviously, I went for option 2. So I had to clear that one last little group of cultists, but a few well-placed sentry guns and a couple of shotgun blasts later, things were pretty well sorted out. I took my time, gathered all the resources, and was about to head back to the Ark to extract when I found the elevator to the 2nd floor. Now, don't be like me. I'm an idiot. The next major mission objective was on the 2nd floor, but I was like, well, you know, I won't try to do the objective with only 2 Marines, but it wouldn't hurt to take a quick peek up there. You know, maybe there's some more good loot and upgrades and stuff. So up the elevator I went. There were no enemies around, and the mission marker was way far away. So I said to myself, okay, I'll just, I'll check around here and then I'll go back. So my 2 little Marines started to wander around the area, looting everything nearby, when I found a little hallway off to the right. The objective was in the opposite direction, so this should be fine, I thought to myself. I started to creep down the hallway, keeping an eye on my motion tracker and, looking for anything lootable along the way. That was the point after all. And I was about halfway down this hallway when the entire thing exploded. I accidentally triggered a set piece for the story, so my 2 Marines had to run like hell away from half the building getting bombed and a pack of angry alien dogs chasing them down. So I managed to make it out of this set piece, but now my 2 Marines were stranded far, far away from the Ark, and with about 6 million horny xenomorphs between them and the Ark. At this point, the sane solution was probably just to reload an earlier save. But no man left behind. What happened next was honestly one of the most fun experiences that I've had in any video game in a long time, where I had to somehow take my 2 Marines, half a squad, battle through hordes of angry cultists and xenomorphs, complete several story objectives, and just use every resource available to try to get my boys back to safety. It took about an hour and a half, and they were definitely in rough shape by the end, but I'll be damned if we didn't get there.
They lost your track, squad. Good job.
On it.
And it was just a super cool story that happened not because it was programmed to be that harrowing, but because I was an idiot and accidentally got myself into that situation. And then I had to use my wits and resources and fight my way through it. Aliens Dark Descent is a great game. Yeah, it has flaws. And despite it so desperately wanting to be XCOM, frankly, it doesn't quite hit that bar. But it is admirably close. And all of its shortcomings, I think, can be forgiven because the overall experience is so good, and because this game was made by a much smaller studio on a much smaller budget, and it's so clearly just a labor of love. The folks over at Tendalos Interactive set out to make a challenging alien strategy game, and they succeeded. So, pick this game up, give it a try. If you like strategy games at all, or if you like aliens games at all, it's great. Leave a comment if you played it, if you liked it, and make sure you subscribe to this channel if you made it this far. This is the first video of this sort, kind of a reviewy type thing that I've made, and the support would be greatly appreciated. And just let me know if you want me to do more of these kinds of videos, because it's pretty fun, different than Dead by Daylight. Dead by Daylight's not going anywhere, but I kind of wanted to spread my wings a bit. So, quick like and subscribe, please, and I'll catch you in the next video. Thank you. Bye-bye.